What's going on, everybody? I'm Dom Strider, back in another adventure to find that which time forgot about. Today, I got both Ryan and Andy with me, and we're going up to Gresham to visit the Alexian Brothers Novitiate. Now, this building has a lot of history to it, more of which I want to get into when we're actually at the Novitiate itself. But the skinny on it is that it started out as a mansion, and the person who owned the mansion later then donated it to the Alexian Brothers, who, for those of you who don't know, is a organization of Catholic men who specialize in medical practice. Afterwards, they kind of, stopped using it as a novitiate and went away from it for a while. Years later, this is the interesting part though, years later, it was actually the subject of a hostile Native American takeover in 1975 that lasted for about a whole month. This resulted in a standoff between the Menominee tribe and law enforcement, plus the National Guard got called in. It was a really big deal back in the day. It made national news. But ever since then, it's pretty much been abandoned. Nobody's really been using it. And so we're going to go check it out. Big thing I want to point out right now is that the novitiate itself is on private property. The only reason that we're able to go right now is because we were able to get permission to be on the grounds. So I just want to put that out there for anybody who's watching these videos and is being inspired to maybe try to be an explorer themselves. Don't go on private property without asking. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. We're on the road right now. We're going to get there in a little under 2 hours, and we'll see you guys then. Okay guys, so we got Ryan and Andy with me here, and we just pulled out into the novitiate right now, so let's take a look. That is one majestic building.
Shame about the graffiti.
Yeah, the graffiti. Anybody who watches my stuff knows how I feel about graffiti. It's just so great.
Something about George's Bush.
George's Bush. Yeah, we'll explore that in due time. But yeah, let's go take a look. My heart for you is this big. That's all you got? Whoa. This is it, guys. What'd you see?
Again, describe it.
Can you try?
It's like someone wanted to build a mansion and still stick it to be like a castle.
Well, I mean, it's kind of similar to how it was, so...
Well, that stops rising.
Come on, Satan.
Well, that's not right. It's supposed to be pointing downwards, not upwards.
You hear that, fella? You hear that, Satanists? Ryan just told you off. You done goofed. So Ryan, what you were saying earlier about somebody wanted to build a castle, that's kind of similar to the original intent. Because, so the original intent for this mansion, I mentioned before, it was built, it was originally built as a mansion. It was built as a mansion by a New York widow named Jenny Peters. She built it actually for her and her daughter to live in. So what we're in right now is the original mansion that she commissioned in the late 30s, and it was completed in 1941, I believe. So that said, there is a tragic irony to it, because the tragic irony is that she built this place for her and her daughter. In fact, it was her daughter's idea to live here, and she never made it to see the completion of the building.
The daughter or
the daughter?
If I remember, I do remember you mentioning that. Yeah, didn't the daughter, like, was it some illness or something?
Yeah, it was.
Remember?
Yeah, it was a chronic illness that she had pretty early on. It basically it meant that she was going to die from it one way or another. So, because she had a lot of surgeries and whatnot, and eventually it just wasn't enough. Dude, look at that fireplace. You know, besides the weird faces on it, but.
You also looked at it. One over there as well.
Yeah, well, keep in mind, these. Probably where this. I'm trying to find a good example. Oh, here we go. So you see this. So you see these lines.
Yeah.
Those were walls that broke off the individual rooms.
Yeah.
From what I heard, the original mansion was like a 63 room house.
63-room house.
Yeah, 63 rooms. Ooh, watch your step there.
Yeah, it's all like over the place. So.
Well, no, like those holes right there, watch your step.
Yeah, it looks a little thin. So.
Yeah, so probably step away from there. Let's see the pillars. Ooh.
And if I remember correctly, Dom, the place was it was on Indian property, right? And that's how this whole
Kinda,
the
yeah.
whole incident came to be. But this, where we are right now is very near the Menominee tribe.
It is
area.
near the Menominee Reservation, yeah. So, all right, the elephant in the room, we got to talk about the takeover.
Which is the most famous aspect of this whole.
Yeah, so basically what happened was the takeover started pretty much first things 1975, and pretty much their stipulation was because at the time the Menominee tribe had pretty much lost their they pretty much lost their what is it?
They were going to lose their rights as a tribe.
Well, they already lost their rights as a tribe, so.
But a lot
this
of those privileges and that were coming to an end, so this was their way of.
Yeah. Well, this was their way of trying to like reclaim their tribal status.
Yeah.
Which it's really a shame that all of that happened because of the fact that, for one, there were already plans to. There were already plans from somebody else to try to, fight for the restoration of the tribal status. And not only that, there were plans on what to do with the building, too. This was supposed to be a center for alcoholic rehabilitation.
Yes.
You can guarantee that both those plans went down the toilet after this whole thing went down.
Yeah. And let's also keep in mind that that what you were saying about the Menominee tribe and that was that it was a very big thing. I believe it was the American Indian movement.
You're right.
Was already fighting for them.
Yep, that's correct.
And this is something that I didn't know until my dad had mentioned it, and I looked it up and confirmed it. One of the big people who was behind, who caught wind of this and became a big proponent of this was, of all people, Marlon Brando.
Correct.
The Godfather himself.
Yes, that is correct. Marlon Brando actually did get involved in the standoff siege. And so the reason for that is because Marlon Brando himself was a huge sympathizer with Native Americans in general. In fact, I bet you know the story. I don't know if you know the story,
I know it.
Ryan. So Marlon Brando won the Oscar for his performance as the Godfather. He denied the reward. He denied his Oscar, and the reason for it was because of how the Academy viewed and treated Native Americans. So he catches wind of this thing. Of course, he's going to come up. And funny thing is that he actually stayed in this monastery. We're walking where Marlon Brando walked. And
I actually did not know that. I did not know that
he came up here to try to settle the dispute. Yeah. Here's the thing: they actually didn't like him very much.
Yeah, I assume
they didn't like him very
much. Some big white A-lister guy coming in on this.
It wasn't necessarily that. It was that it was the fact that he came in and he was making these grand promises, and they just saw right through him.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
because originally he met with the Alexian brothers, and he was going to, put forth a sum of his own money to try to pay for this whole fiasco. Yeah, well, guess what he didn't show up with. But anyway, enough of the history lesson. We'll go over that a little bit later. Let's keep looking at this phenomenal friggin' building.
Like down there as well.
Oh, the river?
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, no, this is...
that is the Red River. This is that specifically is it's either Freeborn Falls or Freeman Falls, one of the two. And that was, in fact, Ryan, that river, that whole specifically those falls was the huge reason why Mrs. Peters, the widow who originally commissioned the mansion, her daughter wanted to live here was because of those.
That explains this big spacious room. I mean, this is a hell of a view. Anyone who would want to like have a mansion, this is like the best view I could think of.
It really is. You can't get a better. And I'm guessing, and I don't know. I never saw the floor plans of this, but if I had to guess what the purpose for this room was, I'm guessing it was some sort of observatory.
Yeah.
For
I'm
the
guessing
river.
some sort of like foyer, some sort of, or not foyer, but some sort of some sort of big, guest room.
Yeah, it could be too. I mean, hey, if you're gonna have guests over, give them the best view of the house. Hello, my name is Proficient Kid.
Yes.
There you have it. He's a proficient kid. What more is there to
Notice
say?
an uncanny resemblance.
Really? Here, go stand over there, Andy. Go stand over there. Hey guys, what do you think? Does Proficient Kid over here look like that Proficient Kid over there? I can't tell the difference. Well, there really isn't a whole lot to really see over here. I mean, there's some cool fireplaces. There's a spot where the TV was. There's not a whole lot to really talk about as far as the building itself. Ooh, watch my step. And that's because, and in fact, the reason that it's so empty like this is because months after the takeover happened, there unfortunately was a fire that destroyed a lot of the contents in here. So that's why it looks as out of shape as it is. So everything had to get gutted because of the fire, not to mention thieves and souvenir keepers over the years.
And just general dilapidation.
And just general dilapidation. Although, all things considered, if you're talking general dilapidation, all things considered, this is standing pretty decently.
Yeah, I was saying more like the wooden structures in that, because the building fell out of general use not too long after
the attack, yeah.
Yeah, and that was,
I mean,
that was over 40 years ago.
well, let me think, 1975.
That was about 45 years ago.
Yeah, so, but yeah, let's see if there's anything on the upper level. It's a Pac-Man ghost.
There was one down on the stairs too.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, up right there. And it's up right side up.
Another pentagram?
Yeah, it's right side up.
Is that more factually correct, Ryan?
No, he's saying that this is another bad one.
It's pointing upwards, so it's pointing downward.
What up, guys? You screwed up the pentagram again. That's 0 for 2. Get your A game on here, guys.
It would be nice when my manor has been rebuilt. You could swap not sleeping in a penthouse to not sleeping in a mansion, Master Wayne.
Yeah, just careful.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, this was a legit balcony, and I believe this was actually one of the posts for some of the occupiers.
Oh, one of the posts. I see what you say now.
Yeah, like they had to stand a post.
Yeah.
So like there would be,
How many occupiers were there?
I believe originally there were like 30
Okay,
something.
that's a lot more than I thought.
Oh,
I thought
yeah,
that
this was-
only. I thought that this was a much smaller group,
Oh
like maybe like
no,
7
no, no, no,
people.
no, no! It was, it was like 30 something initially, and then like more people kind of came in because they kept letting people into the Abbey. So,
Well,
yeah.
that does make sense since again this did become a pretty big movement.
Oh, I'm not just talking about like news reporters or law enforcement or anything like that. I'm talking Menominee. So
Well, that's what I'm saying too, because keep in mind that
Yeah.
technically speaking, the even though that nobody wanted it to be an occupation or a standoff, a lot of people were on the Menominee side.
yeah, they were.
Considering the fact that the American Indian movement and Marlon Brando were, technically speaking, they were trying to reach a peaceful resolution, but they were very much taking the Menominee side. And look, we need this.
Well, everybody was trying to reach a peaceful resolution. The problem was that they went about it in very different and not exactly the best ways.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of unfortunate.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, this is one of the posts. Let's go back inside, see what else we got. Just watch your step.
Yeah. All over the place.
Oh yeah. In
Think
fact,
what it looks like.
you could say it's a rather holy place. I'm just amazed by the strawberry over here. Like, out of all the things to graffiti, why a strawberry?
They're probably bands of the Beatles. And we're probably doing the same stuff that the Beatles were.
Live peace. Well, you're not far off. Look over there. Lenin lives. Speak of the devil himself.
I'm not that far off. I mean, they had what was it called, the Strawberry Fields album?
This would have been like what, 1975, maybe? I don't know. I'm not very good on music history.
Yeah. Well, my point is that Lennon lives, Strawberry. It makes sense with the Beatles, and the Beatles
you
were
see up
heavy
there?
drug users.
What'd you see up there?
Just on the
Oh, okay, another balcony. Probably another post too. Well, like I said, there's also not a whole lot on this floor. We're gonna go quickly check the top floor, just to see if anything is even there, and then we'll see what happens. Oh, whoa. Even more balcony space up here. With all the snow gone, this would have been a really good place to hold. Like if you're talking for siege position, this would have been a good place to hold because they were definitely.
Right over there. In fact, there's an actual doorway over there.
Yeah, that's probably how they got there, and they probably circled around either that or they just went out the windows.
Yeah.
I mean, oh man. Oh. So Ryan, you were asking me something earlier. What was it?
Based on all the rip off the lousy pentagram designs and most of that writing there, I was starting to think maybe people were buying into that this place was like cursed or something.
Oh, okay, all right.
And you were saying that because of
It's near a bit of Native American reservation and
Okay.
with all the spiritual activity with the Native Americans legends, you know.
Okay, I mean
yeah,
that's.
they might have associated like the whole Native American spiritual stuff with sort of the, any sort of unnatural occurrences here. Especially given the fact that like, since this has sort of like this now reputation for, being this abandoned place of where a well-known siege standoff happened, it's like they probably associate, and this was because of some legend or something. An urban myth kind of thing.
Yeah, I've heard something similar. So, again, I have to watch where I step. So, while I was doing research on the place, I was mostly reading a book called The Abbey and Me, which if you ever want a very comprehensive read on what had happened here during that time period, give it a read. It is a fantastic read. But yeah,
reading something that said that the same guy also made a
he made a documentary. He made a documentary called The Novitiate. So I'm actually going to link both of those in the description. But anyway, so he mentioned at one point in the book that one of the brothers, one of the Alexian brothers, came up to him and said that he thought maybe there might have been some kind of demonic force at will, and which. Or like some sort of like curse that, supposedly cursed the entire land. And I don't know if that's true, especially because there have been multiple, like even on YouTube you can find there have been multiple paranormal investigations for this particular place. The thing is though, when I was doing my own research into that, just because I was curious, I couldn't find a single cohesive ghost story about it. So
my own personal theory is as to why he would say something like that, why he would say like the place being cursed, is you got to think about the history.
It's true.
I mean, it started off with it being a mansion for this woman and her daughter. Daughter dies, gets bought out by the novitiate. The novitiate
not bought out. It was donated.
Or donated, but my point still stands that after being run for a little bit, the novitiate gets taken over by Menominee wanting to get it back. They eventually get it back. They can't pay for it. They give it back to the town. The town has nothing that they can use for it. It becomes dilapidated. It seems like no matter who gets control of it, sooner or later it ends up just as another rundown relic where it needs to be just handed off.
Yeah. In fact, that's actually kind of the, a little bit on the humorous side of it, is that it turned out what was like in the end, because I've been kind of, avoiding like how it even ended. It ended, and the Warriors won. The Menominee won. In fact, they actually, so the Alexians sold them this place for, exactly where I'm going with this. I'm going to ask Ryan, how much do you think that they sold the place for?
I'm guessing not much.
But how much?
I can't be specific because money isn't my thing.
But like, okay, but like, if you were just to buy a house like this, what would you pay for it?
With this condition, I'd say between 5,000 or less.
It was definitely less. $1. They sold it to him for
$1. They sold it to him for, and the only reason that they did it was because they were like, we're done. We are sick of this. We need this to stop before any bloodshed happens, because surprisingly, nobody got killed.
Or seriously
injured for that matter, which I have no idea how that got avoided.
Yeah,
but
there was, as far as I know, there was no actual violence, right?
Oh, there was violence. There were shots fired.
Oh, there were shots fired.
Oh, there were shots fired.
Oh, I was not.
Just nobody got seriously hurt.
Now that I think about it, maybe that's the reason why this place isn't haunted. If anyone's seen the paranormal shows, you know about the stone tape theory where there's a residual energy with all the death. If no one died, but there was violence, it is probably the reason why this place isn't haunted. Because there was.
That is actually a surprisingly fair point.
Yeah, there's no mere.
No death, no spiritual activity, no ghost. No
but then why would people think that there are ghosts?
Well, kind of like what Ryan was saying about just the whole spirituality associated.
Like the ethereal kind of, okay.
Yeah.
Another thing is that before technology began to advance, people were just a lot more superstitious.
That's true. A lot of people were superstitious.
Superstition about the event, especially since what I was saying about the whole curse thing. There's people associating all these.
There's some of the pipes that just were blown. Yeah. Oof. Yeah, definitely. Watch your step.
But anyway, what I was saying was, for how dilapidated this building is, I mean, the structure-wise, layout-wise, it is like very nice. I would love to see the floor plans. I was telling you about that.
Oh, me too. You and me both.
Yeah, because it would be very interesting to see, especially how they like changed this from a mansion to a novitiate. And you were saying, weren't you, that this?
Oh
was
yeah,
kind of
so I
full-
actually forgot to mention. So this mansion right here is only the original mansion. When the Alexian Brothers gained ownership of it, this whole building only became maybe even 1/4 of what the entire facility looked like. They had a much larger facility here with like dorm rooms and classrooms and probably chapels and all of that.
They would have had a whole much bigger grounds to cover with all that. My question is though is are those buildings still around?
No.
Or are those, all right.
because they were attached to this building, and they were beyond saving.
Oh, okay. I'm
They
guessing
were
that would have
beyond
happened
saving.
either during either during that fire that you mentioned or during any.
It probably happened after the fire. I think it was torn down like pretty long after the event even happened, because the fire was the same year as the takeover.
Okay, that I did not know. I thought
The fire was the same
happened
year
a
as the
few years
take.
later.
Yeah, no, the fire was the same year as the takeover. Yeah, guys, where we're standing is a place that, guns were fired. There was and
Where
the
guns were
Godfather
fired, where
and
battles were-
Godfathers walked.
Yeah. In all seriousness, though, this is a place that had a great deal of significance, especially for the Menominee tribe.
Oh,
I mean, given the fact that they fought very hard for this, and again, even the national figures got involved with this. Like I say, I brought this up to my dad when we were discussing this, and I think right after I mentioned it, he was like, "Yeah, no, I remember this whole event." And it wasn't until he brought up the Marlon Brando thing that I even discovered that he was involved with it.
Oh yeah, and he was pretty closely involved near the later.
Yeah, it was right towards the end.
It was right towards the end that he
wasn't until
got
he got involved. I think that it started to reach its conclusion, because once he got involved, then obviously much more media attention would have been brought to it.
Yeah, and that's actually the one thing that they liked about Brando, was that he brought the media attention. So the rest of it, no, they didn't like it very much. Well, guys, that's going to be all for this video that I could really think of. There is so much to talk about with this specific building. If you want to know more about this building, either check out the book The Abbey and Me, or watch the short documentary called The Novitiate. I will have links for both of those down in the description below. But anyway, that's going to be it for this adventure. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more of this content, please hit subscribe, as well as hit the bell notification to let you know when I come out with a new video. If you have any more information of places like this that I could go explore, either send me a message on either the comments, or my Facebook page, or even my Discord. Links for that will be down in the description below. Once again, thank you guys for watching. I'm Dom Strider, and I will see you guys the next time I go on a quest to find that which time forgot about.